as things stand, yeah.
And ultimately, the only reason Mourinho was brought in was to get Champions League football. You know, with the stadium that they have, with the growth of Tottenham, I think that's where they see themselves, and Mourinho's the perfect guy to get you there. So,
but he was also supposed to be the man that brings you trophies. Knocked out the Champions League to Leipzig, knocked out the FA Cup as well. So we know they're going to end the season now without a trophy. The only trophy for them is to qualify for the Champions League, isn't it?
I think one of the reasons he took this job is because he thought he could win an FA Cup, or do something in the Champions League. And you're right, that in the last week, all of a sudden that has dried up. The FA Cup, they're out. Champions League, they got thoroughly outplayed against Leipzig. So all he's got left is to focus on the Premier League and try and find a way to get to that fifth spot, because fourth looks a little bit unrealistic, but fifth there, Manchester United, and that game on the weekend becomes even more pivotal.
Yeah.
Can he find a way to get something, that spirit of the teams that Mourinho had in the past, the Chelseas, the Inters, can he find something? Because right now it looks like they're only really going away, and that's backwards.
Well, can he find something from these remaining 9 games then to get himself into the Champions League place without Harry Kane and Son? The likelihood is they're going to struggle to get back, certainly for the first 6 or 7 of those.
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely. I mean, if you're missing Harry Kane and if you're missing Son and you're missing Sissoko, now Bergwijn is out, he's come in, I thought he's played really well. You don't really have anybody who's going to guarantee you the goals. So defensively, Lloris made a couple of mistakes midweek in the Champions League. That's all of a sudden an issue. The back line isn't settled. His midfield is outside of the cell, so I don't think he trusts anyone, and he doesn't have a goal scorer. So I think for Mourinho, right now, he can't feel the team that he trusts. And if you look at some of the fixtures there, starting with the United one on the weekend, there's not any of those that jump out at you that say they can win that. And I think
four of the top 10 there as well. I mean, Sheffield United obviously still fighting for those Champions League places. They've got to travel to them. Derby against Arsenal. Leicester looked like they were back to their best against Aston Villa the other night as well. So there are some tricky games.
But I think that for Mourinho, he can take pride in the fact they control their own destiny. So if they can find a way to get a result against Manchester United, and that beautiful stadium that they have, then all of a sudden the season is back on. But I think right now, especially after the way they played in the Champions League against Leipzig, confidence is down.
Let's have a look at the game then against United. And let's look specifically at Tottenham. Do you think Jose Mourinho knows his best team?
No, I don't think.
Do you think he knows his best system?
No, I don't think there's many of these players, if he could pick next season, everyone's fit and healthy, I don't think many of these get in his team. I mean, if you think about Eric Dyer, as soon as he came in, the first game he played him in there as a defensive midfield player.
Yeah.
West Ham. That hasn't worked. So all of a sudden he's gone back to being a defensive player.
This is the team he picked against Burnley. I mean, he sort of said he was prioritising one or the other, the Premier League or the Champions League. It looked with the team selection that he was prioritising the Champions League.
Yeah, he was
against Leipzig. They've now knocked out that. Back three, do you think that suits them? I personally looked at it and thought it didn't suit the personnel. Tanganga, more adept at playing centre-back. Vertonghen, more adept at playing centre-back. Not natural wing-backs. They look light in midfield. Skip and Ndombele got outrun. The way that Burnley played, Hendrick tucked in, made an extra man. United are going to play 3 in there. There's no way he's going to play with just 2 in midfield, surely. I mean, I know he's sort of trying to make do because of the injuries, but even then, you still looked at it and thought it was a strange system he selected.
Yeah, especially, you're right, Tanganga. I think he's playing him because he knows that he's going to give him hard work and effort and intensity. But you're right, he's not a ball-playing fullback, which is what you need to be nowadays. He needs to be in there as a centre-back, really. And these two, Skip, I think is a good young player, but he's learning his craft. And then Ndombele. I mean, to play those two in a midfield 2 on their own, he's still learning the game, and he's been incredibly inconsistent. It puts a lot of pressure on the team that's struggled defensively, it's made mistakes, and you're not really getting the goal. So really, that needs to be the heart of the team. Yeah. And right now, that's probably the weakest part. And I think for Mourinho, he's trying to find something, but I don't think it's coming together.
United this weekend, what do you think he does then? Do you think he sticks with the back 3 that didn't work in the first half at Burnley, or do you think he goes to a back 4? I personally think he probably would prefer to play a back 4 if he possibly can.
But who's he going to play at left back? I mean, he's tried a lot of people there. He's played Tanganga.
Well, Vertonghen. He doesn't seem happy about playing Vertonghen and Alderweireld together as a centre-back pair. Sanchez had a knock, didn't play against Leipzig, should be fit. I think Dyer probably goes into midfield as a holding midfield player. Sanchez, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, and I think probably Aurier. So let's take Skip out of the team because he'll play. Can't get him yet. Is he going to come out of the team? There he
There he
goes.
goes. Aurier.
And then we'll try and find Aurier. He's there somewhere. Can't even find Serge Aurier. Let's put Serge Aurier. Let's take Tanganga can play there. Dyer's a holding midfield player. And Ndombele, I don't think will play. Do you think Ndombele will play?
Well, I think the point is, whatever he does, he's probably going to play on the counter, isn't he? Because he knows that United, are incredibly good on the counter. So he'll probably try and counter that and play a bit deep. I'm not sure Mourinho. I think he's going to look at training this week and try and figure out what is.
Well, Lo Celso will play, won't he?
Oh, 100%.
I'm almost certain Lo Celso will play. Put Lo Celso into the team. He definitely plays.
That's the one player he trusts right now.
Yeah.
And I think he trusts Dele.
As a centre forward? Think that suits him?
No.
His position?
I think he plays Dele in there. He plays like that. I think he plays Lucas Moura up top, Lamela. And then I think Sessegnon.
Winks coming to the team or not?
Yeah, I think Winks probably instead of Dyer. He's got Sessegnon in there as well. So, look, he still has.
There's Winks. There we go.
He's still got decent options, I think, I think he's got decent options. He's just got to. I think it's more about the players that he trusts right now.
Yeah.
I think right now that trust is low.
Mm-hmm. But Dele Alli as a centre forward or Lucas Moura, Lamela. What do you think? How do you see that?
No, I think Lamela obviously prefers to play off his right-hand side.
Yeah.
He likes to come inside there. And I think if you have an attacking fullback that can get up there, then I think Lamela can drift inside. He likes to do that. I think Dele could probably play deeper, like United do at times. You could play the two high and wide, and Dele Alli just coming in behind there. I think the most important thing is that you get defensive solidity, you're compact in midfield, and when you win the ball, like United are doing now under Ole Gunnar, when you win the ball, and then you break. And when you break, and then Dele's really good at arriving in the box late. But really, I think the one that he trusts that he's going to run the midfield through is Lo Celso.
And looking further ahead, what changes do you expect him to make in the summer?
I think there'll be a lot of changes, but I think that depends on if they're in the Champions League. I think the club we're hoping on the Champions League. I think Mourinho was hoping on that. If they're not in the Champions League, then I think obviously the players that they can recruit are completely different. And then can you hold on to Harry Kane? Can you hold on to Dele Alli? That's going to be the bigger issue.
Absolutely. So many questions marks, isn't there, really, for Jose Mourinho? One man that didn't play particularly well at the weekend, that was Ndombele in midfield. Let's hear what Jose Mourinho had to say about his performance after the game against Burnley.
My thinking was in the first half we didn't have midfield. It's as simple as that. I think more important than the tactics is to have midfield players that want the ball, to have midfield players that connect the game, to have midfield players that press, to have midfield players that recover the ball, to have midfield players that win duels. And we didn't have it. And I have to say that Tanguy had enough time to come to a different level. I know that the Premier League is very difficult. I know that some players it takes time. Some players they take a long time to adapt to a different league. But a player with his potential, with his responsibility, I think he has to give us more than he's giving us.
He's never afraid to be critical of his players, is he, in public, Jose Mourinho? What do you make of that criticism after the game?
Well, he's right in a way. In Ndombele,
but is he right to do it in public?
No, definitely not. But I think he's probably tried in private and it hasn't got him anywhere. And then I think now he's realizing potential is not enough. I think Ndombele has the potential to be one of the best midfield players in the Premier League. I think his talent is off the charts. But the point is, hard work without talent is not enough. And right now, he's not giving Mourinho and the team enough in terms of that effort. On the ball, he's great. Off the ball in this game against Burnley, it was dreadful.
Well, one of the things you know when you go to Turf Moor, you play against Burnley, is that you're going to be in a fight. You're going to get a really tough game, aren't you? And you're going to have to work hard to get anything out of the game. If we look at the stats from the weekend and the sprints per game, and Ndombele doesn't really cover himself in glory, does he? When you think no sprints, I know he only played the first half. Same as the goalkeepers, no sprints. I mean, this is the least amount of sprints in the game, and this is the top sprints in the game. So Charlie Taylor, 20 sprints from left back for Burnley. And Ndombele, central midfielder, no sprints. What do you make of that?
Well, and this is where Ndombele, even his agent, you can't hide behind the performance, and then the numbers back it up. A lot of people say I'm not into stats. Well, if you play a whole game or half of one because you got hooked, if you don't sprint once in a game, that's a problem for everyone. For your teammates, for the other people in midfield, for the defenders. He said there's no intensity, there's no press, they're not winning the ball back. You know, they're not winning any duels. That's one of the most important things in the Premier League. That's why young clubs, Liverpool, are the best, because they're great at that intensity. Yeah. And if you don't have that, you can understand why Mourinho is frustrated.
Yeah, I should say a sprint is defined for 25 kilometres an hour or over. And I wasn't the quickest, but I don't think I played a game where I didn't make one sprint in a game.
No, but it's you got nothing to. If the manager shows these numbers to the players and to the teammates after the game, even the teammates will be looking across the dressing room thinking, how did you not sprint once in the game? And, you know, and I think if you look at Charlie Taylor there, he had 20 sprints.
Yeah.
So maybe, obviously, that's a high number for the game. But the point is, what makes a great athlete is that you change speeds. And if you're just jogging around, you're not affecting the game.
Well, look at his last start. That was against Burnley. His last start before that was against Chelsea. And sprints per game, if we have another look. Well, again, 65 minutes this time. Still no sprints. Serge Aurier joined him, but he'd only been on the pitch 17 minutes. And the goalkeeper for Chelsea actually made 2 more sprints than Ndombele did.
Impossible to defend him, you know. And I think obviously his talent is undeniable. But we always say it, and Burnley's a good example of that. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. He is super talented, but he's not working hard enough. And the point is, when you're going through a difficult phase, and he's 23, he's come over for a lot of money, and you got to try and push through it. You got to work through it. But if you're not running and you're not playing at intensity, I think it frustrates your teammates and it frustrates the manager and the fans as well. Because I think when you watch him on the ball, he's really good.
Yeah.
Off the ball, especially in the game against Burnley, he was disappointing.
Well, let's have a look at him then. Against Burnley, then some of him is in action here. I mean, there's no energy, there's no intensity about his play, is there? And then there's no awareness either. So now, what would you do? You're a central midfield player. What are you thinking?
Well,
here?
Matt, he's actually doing the right thing. He's checking his shoulder. He's seeing where people are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we just run,
he can't go and put pressure on the ball, can he?
Initially, you'd think, can I go press the ball? No, the distance is too big, and really that's more his job. So if we just run it on there, we know Burnley play long. So really, one of the most important positions to be in is there. If that's your midfield 2, Skip and Ndombele, really, you know the second ball is going to be the most important one.
Yeah.
They're both not really in a position to affect that second ball. So it feels like...
And now where the ball's gone over his head, this is his man. Jack Cork. Go and get tight to him. You know that if the ball drops then, he's picking it up. You're losing that second ball.
Whenever I played in midfield, if teams played long, which they did at times, I always felt like the second ball was mine. Yeah. So the defenders dealt with the first one. The second one, I had to try and pick up.
I think particularly when you're playing against the Burnley and say Chris Wood's up top, you know your centre halves, even if they win it isn't going to be a clean header particularly.
Exactly. I think he's just a bit too... He's too passive at all times. He's not trying to make things happen. I think there he's trying to do the right thing.
Is he a bit unsure of his position? Do you think? Is he, especially in the 2 there, is he a bit unsure when to press, when to drop off? Should I go? Should I not go?
Yeah, I think he's playing like he's scared of the manager. So he's almost not doing anything. He's scared to make mistakes, and in the end, you end up just making more mistakes. Normally in possession, he's great there. He just gets caught. But then you need the intensity. You need the intensity to get back into position. Again, Skip and then Dominic, that space is too big in there. And his intensity, it's not enough. If that ball pops in there, it's a goal.
Hendrick picks up the loose ball, yeah.
He's not in the position that he needs to be in. And maybe he's better at playing in a midfield 3, which means he can be one of...
How would you define him?
Right now, he's a luxury player.
Yeah, but when I say how would you define it, as in a number 8, a number 10, what position would you call him?
He's an 8. He's not a number 10 because he doesn't get enough goals. In the last 2 league seasons, he's only scored 1. Okay, he's got 14 assists. This season, I think he's got 2 goals, 2 assists. So his numbers are almost on par with what he did at Lyon.
Yeah.
But the point is, the intensity of the Premier League is different, and he's not winning enough of those duels. 1v1 that Mourinho said.
You said he's good on the ball. Even taking responsibility in terms of trying to get on the ball, he's not really after that either, is he?
No, I think, and normally that's what he's great at. But the problem is sometimes he takes too much. He plays with a little bit too much risk. In a team that's struggling for confidence, that's a good ball there. And this is what he's good at. Normally, getting on the ball there. That ball's probably not on because Dele can't really turn. But this is good. That's what you want to see from him more. Just that clip there, the intensity. But then you see that, can you get back? The ball's already in the other opposition's half. He jogs back. He never really gets back into a position where he can affect the game. And I think that's what Mourinho's going to say. I need more intensity from you.
Can he turn it around? I mean, can he turn it around under Mourinho even?
Well, he's got to dig in and fight. So
because that's two different questions. I'm sure he can turn it around if he's got quality and ability, which we've seen. But is he going to ever do it under Mourinho?
He's super gifted. He's super talented. The only way he's going to get through this is through work. We've all had moments as a player where you're under pressure. You've got to work yourself through it. If you think back to what happened with Bakayoko at Chelsea, all of a sudden, he was brilliant at Monaco, came here, didn't work out. And then he goes on loan and they spend a lot of money. It's not a guarantee that it's going to work. I think he's got the talent. But right now, I think that Ndombele, Mourinho marriage is not a good one. And I don't think he trusts him. And if he's going to play like that, he's not going to play anymore.
What's the best balance, do you think, in that midfield then for Spurs right now?
I think the best thing is a City midfield player. So wings are Dyer, and then Lo Celso and Ndombele if he runs around.
That would be
and then you got your Dele and you got Lucas Moura. I still think they got enough good players in there they can get results. If you're 4 points off the top four, they got to try and work through it. I think there's enough pieces there to get in the top 5 Champions League place.
Yeah.
But the way they performed against Burnley, that's not going to work.
No. Certainly difficult times, isn't it, for Jose Mourinho and Ndombele. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to turn our attention to Man United and one man that has turned it around in a United shirt, and that's Fred. He's silenced his critics with some terrific performances of late. So we'll talk about him when we come back shortly. Welcome back to the Analysis Show with myself and Owen Hargreaves. Don't forget to get in touch with us on Twitter. Use the hashtag The Analysis Show. Any questions you've got for us, we're going to do our best to answer as many as we possibly can. We're currently looking ahead to Tottenham against Man United. We've spoken a little bit about Spurs. Let's talk about Man United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the job he's doing, he started brilliantly, had a sticky spell, and of late, he seems to have found his magic again, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think Ole Gunnar, he's finally starting to get it right. I think he's done a great job anyway. I think you think about the players that he's missed with Pogba and McTominay and Rashford. I think all of a sudden now with Bruno Fernandes coming into the side, it's had a huge lift on the whole team. I think defensively they're really solid. The midfield all of a sudden looks like a real strength with Fred and Matic. And
it's amazing how one man's made such a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think he's given a lot of confidence to Fred and to Manu Matic. That midfield three, they look really confident. And all of a sudden now he's the one going to play killer passes into Dan James and Martial. So I think signs are really good for Ole Gunnar because defensively they've been good all season.
Yeah.
But the goals a bit of an issue, and I think Bruno Fernandes has come in and lifted the whole team.
He's split between a back three and a back four, depending on opposition. Primarily against some of the bigger teams, he's played a back three. Do you anticipate that he'll do that at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this weekend?
I think he'll continue in the same form because I think everybody's flourishing kind of in this system. If you think David De Gea, the back three, I think Luke Shaw, I was at the game against Man City. I thought he was absolutely tremendous. I thought he was, considering he's always been playing there, I thought in there he was unbelievable. Matic is almost playing in there. Fred is just playing a bit further forward. And Bruno Fernandes at times, when these guys get really wide, then Bruno Fernandes gets in there. So it's a really interesting attacking lineup. I think Wan-Bissaka against Raheem Sterling was amazing. Probably the best 1v1 defender in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Williams, again, showed real confidence. So you'd expect him to play in the same shape because the team's functioning.
Mm-hmm. So you anticipate a back three then?
I think he'll play a back three, yeah.
In that case, it's difficult to know where he makes changes then, isn't it? Because McTominay came off the bench, scored, and you think with his energy, maybe it would be useful at Spurs. But it's almost like, where does he actually get in a team now?
Yeah, and the thing is, if Tottenham had a midfield that you thought, like City's, where you need an extra body in there, they probably don't because it's a weakness in there. So I think if Ole Gunnar, I think to have the luxury to bring McTominay off the bench is a great one. He came off the bench, as did Igalo, and played great and really impacted the game. So he's got that luxury.
What about the influence of Igalo? I mean, people laughed a little bit when United took a gamble on him last minute. But actually, some of his performances have been good. I think actually he's pushed him on as well. Martial, I think he's given him a bit of a, because he didn't really have any pressure, did he, with Rashford not being fit? He was always going to play probably up top. Now Ighalo's come in, he's given him something to think about as well.
Well, he's a completely different option because, if you think about Martial and James, they want to run the channels, don't they? They don't want the ball into feet, they want to run in behind. Ighalo's the complete opposite. He wants the ball into feet, he wants to be a focal point, like Giroud at Chelsea, even for the second goal.
Yeah.
He holds the ball up and then brings other people into play, and that's where the second goal from McTominay came. I think he's been absolutely outstanding since he came in. He's something different. He's a Man United fan. You can tell every time he steps on the pitch, he's delighted. He's happy to be there. And I think his performances have improved the team. And that's what you want when you bring in players. Bruno Fernandes has done the same. And I think Ole, the recruitment, especially in January, has been great.
And players are playing at peak form, really. Matic was another one who looked like he might have been struggling to be staying at the club. Fred, let's talk about Fred, because his performances of late, well, I think have been outstanding. I think his energy, his drive, his ability to look forward, his ability to go from box to box, I think has been really crucial to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, I think because Bruno Fernandes has come in and played as almost in that number 10 position, I think at times, because they paid 50 million for Fred and he's Brazilian, I think people thought he's a number 10.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not a goal scorer and he's not really creator. But what he is, he's just a really good midfield player. He's two-footed. We're seeing now the Fred that we saw at Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League. He put in some brilliant performances against some of the best teams. And I think in possession, he's very good. He's energetic without the ball. And now when you got Matic almost as a sitter, Fred is almost box to box, which is what he's great at.
Yeah.
Because I think before he was too high, and I think before at times he was too deep. That's his position there. Fernandes is a 10. So that's what you call a midfield 3. Defensive 1, in between what we call an 8.
It's a balance.
And that's 10. And that is balance. It's really good balance. Everybody feels comfortable.
Yeah, let's have a look at him in action then. And some of his performances and what's he been doing well?
Well, first of all, you get to see straight away. That's your midfield 3, yeah?
Yeah.
So we talk about the sitter, the 8, and the 10. And and often that's how they find themselves within the game. And I think he just has a great sense of when things develop there. He's aggressive when he needs to be.
Danger, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's really good at that. I think he's good in possession as well. He's a good passer of the ball. Okay, the goals and assists aren't his greatest strength, but they don't have to be. If Bruno Fernandes is going to do that, I think in there, first of all, we're speaking about Ndomba, you need energy. Look at that. Watch how quick he gets to Kovacic.
I was about to say, he's just got the ball now. He's got to be at least 5 yards off him. It gives him no time. Now, this is a sprint for me. When you see Ndombele, we just talked about him in midfield and ambling to get there. This is what putting pressure on the ball is. That is pressure.
And Kovacic thinks he has time and doesn't. And the great thing is, when you turn over possession in these areas, you're in straight away.
Yeah. And he's going forward.
Yeah.
He's not thinking about going back, is he?
No. And that, and then when you get here, then you can use the ball well. He's like any good midfield player. He's always checking his shoulder. He's always looking around, trying to see where he is. And again, there, you see, that's the base of it. That's Matic. That's your sitter. And now with Matic being there, he can play further forward. When they get in possession, then he can go and join in. I think he wants to link up. Okay, loses it there. Right, can I win the next one?
Well,
there?
he has. He ranks 5th in the Premier League for midfielders' interceptions.
And that should have been a goal from Ighalo. That's brilliant. That's exactly what you want from him. Be aggressive. Put people under pressure.
Pressure from the front.
Exactly.
And then this, can I play forward?
And he's really two-footed in that. He can play balls with his right, he can play with his left. However it falls to him, he's more than capable. And I think Ole, credit to him, he's really stuck by him because he's giving him so much in terms of energy. Look, even there, can you break? And when you break, can you do it with quality? This ball I love. Just wait, composure, perfect.
Well, he actually ranks first for United for passes through the lines. So that says to me that he's looking to play forward.
Yeah, and I think at the time before, the team was struggling.
Yeah.
And Matic was struggling, and even Fred was struggling. But actually now, with the confidence, the team's growing.
Took that on his back foot again, needs to go forward.
And he's always, and that's the thing I like about him, he's always checking his shoulder. He knows where he's at. It's just, he's a complete midfield player. I think if he can add goals to his game, I think it'd be the perfect midfield player because in terms of in possession, he's very good. Out of possession, he's very aggressive. And I think the players around him are functioning, which is a really good sign.
Okay, let's go back to the teams because I think we've got a question regarding United's side. Let's get the United team up. And the question is, how do Pogba and Rashford fit in the current Man United team if they come back before the season ends? And that's a great question because Pogba's sort of talked that he wants to play with Fernandes in midfield. Rashford gets in United's best 11, no question about it. But where do they play? In this system as well? Or would you tweak it?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one because I think obviously you got to build around Bruno. And I think if Bruno's in there, you can only really have one sitter.
Yeah.
So that could be Pogba.
Yeah.
And that could be Bruno Fernandes. But he needs to always sit.
Does that then put an awful lot on Matic, who isn't the most mobile?
No, but
he's not the most mobile.
No, but in the end, I think you've got to build around your best players. And your best players are Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. So you get them in the team, and then that means rather than these guys getting box to box, Fred and Matic, you just need a sitter. Like Ndidi does at Leicester.
I was about to say, Man City, the best example of it, really. In the past, you've had Fernandinho, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne.
Exactly.
So, David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne are their two best players.
And the reason Man United are so far behind Man City, defensively, the goals conceded are almost the same. The big difference is in terms of goals scored. I think they're 20 plus behind Man City. So if you can get Pogba into your side with Bruno Fernandes, with Rashford.
Surely it's Rashford with Martial.
With Rashford and Martial, then all of a sudden that attack is very, very good. You've got one of the best goalkeepers in Division De Gea, one of the best defenses in the Premier League outside of Liverpool and Sheffield United. So that's not an issue. Can you address issues up the pitch? And I think if you get a sitter plus Fernandes, Pogba, Rashford and Martial, that's a great attacking lineup.
How far do you think this United team are, and how many players are they away from challenging next season in the Premier League then?
Well, I think it's not about quantity, it's about quality. I think if you can all of a sudden have a Jadon Sancho, I think they need a right winger. I think they really, really need a right winger. If you can have a Jadon Sancho playing off the right-hand side, that makes a huge difference. I think
Bellingham's been linked from Burnley.
I like him, but he's 16, 2017.
So you can't rely on that.
He's going to be a super player, but they need somebody right now. I think you need an Ndidi type, a defensive sitter. I think if you got Pogba with Bruno Fernandes, then I think you need a really defensive one there. And I think they need a left-footed centre-back. They got Maguire, they got Lindelof, they got Bailly. I think they need a left-footed centre-back. I think that would make a big difference.
And Harry Kane up top?
Well, that's the dream, Harry Kane. But they got Rashford, they got Martial. I think having somebody off the right-hand side would make a difference. But Harry Kane is the dream.
Yeah.
But they don't desperately need him.
And what about this game then? Spurs against United. Clearly United are in the better form, harder to beat right now. But they're always dangerous, aren't they, Spurs?
Spurs are dangerous, yeah. But I think, how football is, momentum and confidence. United have the confidence and they'll be super confident going into the game. Tottenham the opposite. So I think for Ole Gunnar, he'll want to continue the good run and forget a point away. They'll want to go for 3 and solidify their position.
You'd think at the moment United, confidence-wise, probably would have a good chance.
Well, I think both teams are not happy to really make the game. They're both rather counter teams. Man United with a better team against City with 27% possession. Yeah. That probably won't happen against Tottenham. So somebody's going to have to take control of the game. And both teams have struggled at times when they've dominated possession. So we just can see who sits off more. My gut feeling is Tottenham will sit off and play on the counter more than United. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Spurs against Man United this weekend. Right, time for another break. When we come back, we're going to look at Everton's game against Liverpool, and Carlo Ancelotti will be looking for a reaction.
マー君の去就にも影響必至。ヤンキースにサイン盗み疑惑。選手会に労使協議を打ち切られた MLB のロブ・マンフレッドコミッショナーが今季の中止を示唆するなど、未だ開幕のめどすら立たないのに、早くも今オフの動向が注目され始めた。今季終了後に7年契約が満了、FA となるヤンキースの右腕、田中将大31のことだ。 地元紙ニューヨークポスト電子版は14日、日本時間15日、読者の質問に番記者が答える Q&A を掲載。田中に加え、オフに FA となるカップ37とパクストン31の両左腕の去就を報じている。田中に関しては2014年にヤンキースに入団して以来安定した成績を残してきた164試合で75勝43敗、防御率 3.75 ことなどを根拠に彼の入念な準備や浮き沈みのない人間性は首脳陣に高く評価されていると残留に向けた交渉が行われるだろうとの見解を示した。一方、同日のトレードルーモア電子版は田中と左腕2人がいずれも30代で再契約には年齢がネックになると指摘。オフに9年総額約350億円で獲得したポール29イコール前アストロズセベリーノ26の両右腕を軸に若返りを図るため30代の3人との再契約は微妙としている。精度の落ちたスプリット。田中は昨季レッドソックス戦で国旗毒やられた敵地フェンウェイパークでは2試合で0勝1敗、防御率 19.64 ともあり11勝9敗ながら防御率 4.45 と17年 4.74 以来2年ぶりの防御率4点台に終わった。田中はメジャー8年目のピンストライプのユニフォームに袖を通すことができるのか。ヤンキースが田中と再契約する可能性は低いと思いますとスポーツライターの友成那智氏がこう続ける。昨季は特に顕著でしたがスプリットの精度が年々落ちています。渡米以来捕手が捕球に手こずるようなスプリットで相手打者を封じてきましたが昨季は落差がなくツーシームと見分けがつかないほどでした。スプリットが効果的に使えないためスライダー一辺倒の単調な投球になって捕まることも珍しくなかった。ヤンキースはスタントンやコールらと長期にわたる大型契約を交わしており予算面を考慮しても田中を好条件で引き止めるとは考えにくい。ポストシーズンの強さ8試合で5勝3敗防御率 1.76 を評価される可能性はありますが残留する確率は3割程度と見ています。
Jose, good afternoon.
Hi, Gary. Hi.
Begin this very unusual news coverage with a not very unusual question. Is there any team news, any updates on or new injuries?
We have little things, but we are going to wait until tomorrow. Of course, Tanganga has a stress fracture for a few months now. And of course, he didn't recover during this period. And we have some little problems that we have to analyze tomorrow morning before we make a decision. But the ones that had surgeries, Kane, Son, and Sissoko, these three, they recover and they are ready to play.
So you get the impression as well that everybody is as match fit that they possibly can be at this stage.
You know, it's something new that we don't know. I think only when we are on the pitch playing in these new circumstances, I think will be the moment for the players to feel it and for us to analyze. So let's wait for tomorrow.
And just finally from me, because there are a lot of people want to speak to you. Obviously a big game because of the circumstances, the first game back in this mini season. The fact that it's a former team of yours, Jose, does that make it extra special?
No. I think it's a bit special because it's quite a similar feeling to the first match of the season. Match day one is always special, and I think probably all of us coaches, players, we have this little different feeling of match day one, and in the end, this is not match day one, but we can feel it that way because it was a long time of let's say holiday, but this special moment for the world, and difficult for everybody, even the returning to training, going through so many different phases. But yes, I'm happy to play, even knowing we'll be behind closed doors. We know that millions will be watching it, and we want to give a good game, want to give a good football match.
Thank you very much, Jose. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay, thank you, Gary. We're now going to go to Mandy from PLP. I'm just going to unmute you. Okay, Mandy.
Hi,
You there?
Jose.
Hello.
Hi.
You good?
Yeah, good, thank you. How much does it help your preparation, Jose, for this game, given you've got such an insight into this United side? Because it's hard for everybody to judge the form of teams until maybe a few games into this new part of the season. How much does it help your preparation that you know them so well?
Doesn't help. Honestly, it doesn't help. Of course, I know some of their players, but I try to know the players from every team. And when I didn't have the chance to work with them, like I did with some of the United boys, you try to study them as much as you can. So normally, yes, I study opponents collectively, individually. That's normal. And I don't know, but maybe 2-3 weeks ago, we knew that the Premier League was going to start. We knew clearly that United was the first opponent, West Ham was the second opponent, Sheffield United the third opponent. So of course you had lots of time to analyze your opponents, but you analyze your opponents 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And this is a situation where you didn't even have the friendly matches like you have in normal pre-seasons to follow your opponents and to see and to understand the state of form, the performance level, probably new tendencies when you have time to work before that first match of the season. Everything is different. For me, after more than 2 decades in football, it's hard for me to say that something is new for me, but this is new for me. To play this first match after this period is new for me too.
Just one more question from me. What have you made of the impact that Bruno Fernandes has had at Old Trafford?
He's a good player. He plays in a good team, in a big club. And normally good players, sooner or later, they adapt and they perform. In this case, he arrived and he found the team also in a good period of results. I think he's doing very well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mandy. I'm now going to go to the Moose, Ian Abrahams. Moose, can you hear us?
Yeah, can. Hi, how are you?
Hello.
You okay?
You good?
I'm very well, thank you. In one of the last press conferences when we were at a training ground, you were describing how you were hanging on by your fingernails to the battle for the top 4 because of the players you had missing. Now you have all those players back. How do you assess Friday and going into the battle for the top 4?
The battle of top 4 would be amazing if we all start with the same number of points. But unfortunately, that's not the case. We start with minus, 7 or 8 from Chelsea, with minus, 13, 14 from Leicester. We start with minus in relation to too many teams. So is a strange battle to fight, but at the same time is a great challenge, is a great motivation. I will try not to look to that difference. That's why, honestly, I cannot tell you exactly the difference of points that we have to our opponents. We have to look to this incredible challenge in the way I think we have to do it, which is every game we try to win, and then in the end of the 9 matches, we will see what we did and what opponents did, because normally in these fights you don't depend as much as we do also from our direct opponents. So that's really difficult, but let's focus on one match at a time. And tomorrow is Manchester United, and the points are there to fight for, and that's what we're going to do.
One more question from me. I know you were helping out the local community in and around Tottenham. If you could just talk a little bit about that. And also Marcus Rashford, a player you know well, who has gone and changed government policy in the last couple of days in this country, showing just the sort of power that people in football like yourself and players have.
You know, he did amazingly well. I congratulate him for that. It's a bit strange for me that one football player can make it happen, and if it happened is because the government realized that was the right thing to do, so they shouldn't wait for one player to come publicly to put some pressure for that to happen. But the 18-year-old kid that I met a few years ago, to be now a man, and a man with principles, and to fight for kids very similar to him when he was a young kid, is something very, very nice from Marcus.
Thanks, Jose. Good luck tomorrow.
Put yourself back on mute, Ian.
Yeah.
Luis from Direct TV. Luis, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, Jose. I'm
Hello.
here. How are you?
Good?
Yeah, very good. And you? No, not bad. I'm surviving the lockdown. Talking about lockdown, how do you find your players after the lockdown? Talking physically and mentally, in which kind of state of level you found them?
You know, I think different clubs, they had different approaches with the lockdown period. I don't know who did better than others. Honestly, I don't know. Only results and performances will give us a little idea about that. But we decided that the players were not leaving the country. The players were not even leaving their residence close to the training ground, and we would be in daily contact with them, starting with the Zoom system. So I cannot say that I lost contact with them, because we were always in contact. So phase by phase, when after the real lockdown, when the government allowed the players to be back to the training ground, working first individually, after groups of 5, finally a couple of weeks ago with the whole group, I think the players, they were preparing to the next phase. The next phase is a football match, and that is the only thing that I put a big question mark in front, because it's something new for all of us. So how the boys are going to react, how they are going to control their feelings, their emotions, all lack of it, playing in an empty stadium, is the unknown for all of us. So I'm going to wait, but I believe that the club made a great work to give the players conditions to work during the lockdown. The players, they were fantastic also in their commitment, and I think we are ready to play football without that emotion, without what is so amazing in football, which is, of course, the supporters. But we go for it.
And how's Harry Kane at the moment? And how
Harry Kane doesn't play football for more than 6 months. So again, he's working extremely well. I can tell you, no problem. He's going to start the game. Does Harry have 90 minutes, 80, 70, 60? I don't know. I think only the game will tell us that. Is he in the top of his form? We don't know. Is not a little training session with our friends from Norwich that is going to tell us the answer. But for him, is, I don't know, but around 6 months without playing a football match. But he worked extremely well. He's an amazing professional, and he's going to start tomorrow. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Ali Gold, I'm just unmuting you now. Luis, if you put yourself back on mute. Ali, can you hear us?
One sec. There you go.
Ah,
hey, Jose.
Hey.
Hey there. Obviously, you mentioned about Jafid Sanganga there and not being available for you. You're going to need all of your defenders. Can I just ask, is Jan Vertonghen, has he committed to the rest of the season yet? And also, do you expect to have Eric Dyer available, obviously, with the FA charge hanging over him?
What's the second question?
Eric Dyer, do you think he'll have him available?
I forgot that one. I forgot that one because was such a strong movement at the time from the football community and others supporting Eric Dyer with every professional, being a coach, being a player, being a former player, a pundit. Everybody was so supportive of him. The critics were inexistent. The support was huge. People with great responsibilities in the game, they were saying they would do exactly the same as he did. Was proven that was not any physical contact. The person didn't feel at any moment that something was going to happen more than him trying to look and to help his brother. If this story is still alive, surprises me very, very much, because we have now, even with Marcus Rashford, the proof that what is right, and sometimes this is really, really powerful in support of the right causes. That I thought that this was a dead case, and if it's not a dead case, I would be very disappointed with that.
And can I ask you about Jan Vertonghen? Has he committed to play for the rest of the season?
Jan is a fantastic guy, fantastic professional. His love for the club, his respect for the club is never in doubt. So, of course, he's committed with us. Of course, he's ready to play tomorrow. Of course, we and him, we want him to be with us at least until the end of this season. And hopefully, Jan and these people and my club, they can agree into that. But speaking now until the end of his contract in the end of June, of course, is here to help. And of course, we trust totally him.
Thank you.
Okay, put yourself back on mute, Ali. That would be great. Jonathan Veal, just unmuted you. You there, Jonathan?
Can you tell us whether Giovanni Lo Celso is one of the players who is struggling for fitness tomorrow?
Yeah, I can confirm that. Gio, I consider Gio one of the victims of the rules, and one of the victims of of the protocols, because he was injured in the end of the period before the coronavirus situation. He was in very bad conditions in the last 3 or 4 matches. He didn't play against Burnley. He played for 10 minutes, then to try to have him for Leipzig, but then he was not even ready for Leipzig. And because of the rules, his injury is not an injury in needed of surgery, but needed treatment, and needed daily treatment, and needed close contact with physios and fitness coaches working with him, but that was not possible. So for about 2 months, he was injured, and he couldn't recover from it. So when the training ground opened and he started having a treatment, it was not enough to have him 100%. So I would say that only in the past days he was training with the team and available for tomorrow. Yes, I think so. And tomorrow morning we are going to test. Is he going to play 90 minutes? Is he going to start the game? I don't know, but a difficult process for him.
Okay, and just you've spent time with Tanguy and Ndombele during the lockdown period. Are you confident that he's going to be able to provide you with some minutes when the season starts again?
I spent 2 minutes with him, trying to teach him how to use the Wi-Fi GPS. Nothing more than that. But then when he was back to the training grounds, he was committed. He worked. I can see him much more integrated in the group, in the spirit of the group. I think he understands more and more what we want from him. So I'm happy with this last couple of weeks where he showed us some of the great qualities that we know that he has. So yes, ready for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. If you can put yourself back on mute, we'll go to Charlie Eccleshare at The Athletic. Charlie.
Hello, how you doing?
Hi, Charlie.
Hey.
Hi. Hi, Jose. Was just wondering tomorrow with no Delhi, how that changes how you're going to approach the game from an attacking point of view, especially.
I'm not going to tell you. I can only tell you that I feel very sorry that Dele is not playing. Again, I feel very, very sorry that he's not playing. He's a player that works so hard during all this period, and is really frustrated that he cannot play the first match. I don't want to say much more than I don't think he deserves 1 match ban compared with wrong behaviors at much bigger dimensions that happened during this period without any consequences. But we were for such a long period without Kane, Son, Sissoko. Now we have Kane, Son, Sissoko. We lose Dele, and we are not going to cry. We are just going to try to forget that Dele is not playing. How are we going to play? I'm not going to tell you. I don't know if somebody asked the Solskjaer how they are going to play. I don't know if he had that question. I don't know if he answered if he had that question. I'm not going to answer. Just to try to help you, I can say, because maybe it's interesting, the 3 players that had surgery, Sissoko, Son, and Kane, yes, they are going to start.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie. We'll finish off. Rob Harris. Last question from Rob.
Hi, Jose.
Hello.
Hi. You've had 3 months without any games. Have you learned anything about yourself? Have you used the time to discover anything new, whether coaching-wise or anything just more generally? Has it changed you in any way, having the time to think?
I don't think it changed me. But you know, I try to pass my motivation to the players. You know, I felt that motivation from the hierarchy. I felt that motivation from Mr. Levy. So we try to give the players the best conditions to work and to keep motivated. And from the moment we had the green light of training together and to be back to normal training, you know, we work with the happiness of somebody that loves the job and couldn't do it in the right way, but to learn something from myself. I wouldn't say so. I didn't even learn how to cook, so nothing changed.